Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Marvel Talk Goes DC. We're here to talk about The Flash. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking DC on Marvel Talk. If you don't hear the regular voice of OLED, you're hearing me, Andre C., one of your co-hosts, because he's lost in the multiverse. So I had to go searching, and I found in the DC multiverse, I found my boy, that actor guy. Alex, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'd like to consider myself a multiverse Cody Defoe, if you will. I'll let OLED be him. I'll let OLED be him.
Yeah, I had to go through the multiverse for somebody, and I pull out Alex, man.
Yeah, pull out the worst of the worst. Let me tell you.
I want to say big hello to Chris Parrish. Thanks for joining us here on the Twitch channel, sir. How you doing tonight? We are here to talk some Flash movie. We're going to start it out, though. We're going to start out non-spoilers. We're going to so if you want to hear quick early thoughts, you can. And before we get into the spoilerific stuff, but we're going to talk. But let's talk about this generally. I went into this movie like thinking, okay, this is the DC universe as it's known, kind of coming to an end. And going into this, already knowing that you have. So we got more people. Hold on. Hi, Astrid. You can't see my hand because it's got the virtual background on. And yes, it is Alex. It is Alex.
There you go. There's the snapshot. You finally got me doing it.
Yeah. Oh, you guys have tabs. You can figure out streaming on your end. That's smart. That's smart. I can see you down there, Chris. I get you. But yeah, I went into this knowing the end of the DC universe, and it has been stated by James Gunn that Blue Beetle that's coming out later this summer, I think, is going to be the first thing in his Gunverse, if you want to call it that. So he has announced that it's going to be part of his Gunverse or in some way connected to his things. So knowing that this is kind of the end of it all for me, I went into this not having a lot of expectation for DC, but so I went in and I was very, very happy and very, very surprised looking and watching this. I was not surprised, but like it really got me, and I was like, this had a lot of fun. Like lots of nostalgia callbacks, lots of just fan service to this movie, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely had a great time with it. What did you feel just overall, non-spoilery? What did you feel about this movie?
I have my gripes about it, but of course, you know, any cinephile like I will have a gripe about any kind of movie. But this was a very fun movie. If this is the end of the DCEU, as they have called it before, this was a good place to end it. We had a lot of great callbacks, a lot of people coming in that we'd seen in past movies outside of the DCEU, and it was really well done. I was really looking forward to just sitting and enjoying a movie and not worrying about any of the quote unquote politics behind it, as some of the actors have gotten themselves into some hot water as of late. So, you know, it was very well done. Like, we're going to get into it, obviously.
Chris Parrish in the chat. This week on Ed Hates Alka's Grapes. Okay.
Man, I have gripes and grapes.
We've got them all. Like, there's some stuff in the movie that irks me a little bit, but like, generally overall, coming out of it, I was happy coming out of this movie. I think that was the biggest positive I could take away from this. I had a good time.
It was definitely an upbeat to past movies, and I almost wonder if James Gunn didn't have his fingers in the cookie jar when producing or directing this. I'm probably not, you know.
Well, and the thing is, what about, did he have his hands in the cookie jar? Maybe not for producing and directing, but for the final edit, things like that.
Yeah.
Did he influence some of the way this movie was produced? It's like, we'll never know, because again, this was all filmed before him. But remember, his voice was already within DC at that point. So did the directors and everything come to him and talk and ask him things about it? Because again, there's always that possibility that people did. Because again, it's from John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, who have a really good track record in writing stuff. They're really good. They're funny guys.
Yeah,
like some of the stuff they've done. I'm not surprised this had the amount of humor it did, but it had some heart. It had some serious tones to it, and it had some going. It was a cop out in a sense in certain things.
And let me just say, not to take anything away from the director of the movie, Andy Muschietti. I hope I'm saying that correct.
Andy Muschietti. I would say it that way.
Spaghetti, Andy Muschietti. So not taking away anything from him. If this was all him, it was just a great movie. But you know, you never know, because we're only mere watchers, you know, of these videos, of these movies. So we can only sit back and enjoy whatever the final product could be.
Yeah, and again, I think they hit the mark as best they could for what a lot of fans know as the end. Really, like it. And kind of getting to wrap it up in a certain way, but also giving us kind of certain hints towards what the future could be for certain characters in the way this is. And we'll get into that in just a minute here in the spoilers. I think it does pave the way for the future and the Gunverse.
Yes.
So we are going to get into the spoiler section, ladies and gentlemen. So Astrid, you might want to close your ears now. she usually hasn't seen it by the time we do these streams. So
we're just a different breed. We have to be there at midnight. So yeah, sorry, Astrid.
Yeah, I saw this Friday night. I went with a coworker after work. I had an absolute. Usually lately, I've been going to a lot of the Thursday night movies. Mm-hmm. Ones that I can. This is one I actually saw, to me, late in a sense.
Yeah, I was able to see this with my wife. We went. I have the luxury of seeing any movie any time of the day I want to. So we went to the earliest showing on Thursday, and it was a good time.
Yeah, like I went to a fully packed theater, except I think there was like maybe 4 or 5 seats that weren't filled. It was entirely sold out, and my buddy next to me lucked out because nobody ended up sitting in the seat next to him. So we had some space, which was very nice.
Hey, the perfect seat can make all the difference in the movie.
She's saying she doesn't mind spoilers for this one. All right, that's good. Oh. And she's got a life. She does have a life. It's very true.
She does, yeah. She went to see Taylor Swift recently, actually.
And I'm jealous of her because that would be an incredible show.
I'm not really jealous.
I love me some music. Holy moly! It's my boy. It's the man. He's somewhere in the multiverse, but he's contacting us. Oh my god! It's Ed Fries. It's okay, brother. It's okay. I understand. Father's Day, family stuff. It's a busy day today, buddy. It's a busy day.
You know,
What?
somewhere in the multiverse, Ed and I don't have heat, and I'd like to be in that multiverse one day. He
What
doesn't like me for
universe is
some reason.
that?
I don't know. Yeah, DC Ed versus Alex. Let's go.
DC versus Marvel. There you go. So we're gonna, as I said, we're getting into the spoilers. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna kick it off. It's the Flash. There's the glorious
Ooh.
new suit. Him in his speed version. Yeah.
The equivalent to a Quicksilver, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. It's and I love his that it's again his slowed down time, and this is where you actually have to run up a building and save babies.
Oh yeah. So, how did you feel about this scene?
I thought it was a little bit over the top, and the fact that like putting the babies in the microwaves and just the facials of the woman, the nurse falling, and the dog.
Yep.
I loved it in the fact just as a fan watching it, but I look at it and I go, like this is just a little bit too over the top, if you know what I mean. Like it was just, and again, but it set the template for how they were going to treat certain things in this movie. The fact that his big first save of the movie is very comedic based. He's having to like break into was it the vending machine and
Yep.
eat burritos and all this stuff while he's trying to save the babies. He's trying to power up because he didn't get his breakfast. It was humorous, but it set a certain tone for the movie, which I was okay with because again, I'm not a huge fan of the super darkness of what DC has been in the past. But it was a little bit over the top with the amount of food, and he would ignore the babies at time trying to grab more food.
Yeah, and to
burrito
backtrack,
save.
Yeah, to backtrack a little bit, what he's kind of talking about there is, if you don't know the Flash, you don't know the character Barry Allen. He has to consume so many calories to be able to keep up with his health and being able to run so fast. We see early on he's trying to get a bagel from a shop. And you can see on his little watch that he's got keeping track, he's running very low on energy. And the guy trying to give him the bagel or tell him the bagel is just taking his sweet time. When Alfred, Jeremy Irons, by the way, which I loved, that they kept, obviously they're going to keep the continuity there, but Jeremy Irons was back as Alfred, calls him up and says, "Hey, we need you at the hospital." And Barry goes, "Man, I'm trying to get this bagel. I'm late for work. All right, let's go." And the one thing I wanted to go back to was he starts to power up and start running. And you can see the Flash logo kind of just start to spark up on the screen. And then the girls go, "Hey, Flash," and just it reverses itself. And you wait, what the hell is going on? And he's talking to the girls and he's like, "Hey, you can eat that candy bar you attached to it?" She keeps it, and then they start it back up again. He starts to power up. The Flash logo comes on screen. He takes off. I thought that was a perfect start to it. Barry Allen in the Flash is known as a very whimsical, comical character. Almost the Peter Parker to the DC universe. So I thought that was a really good touch.
Yeah, I thought again, and it established a certain lightness that DC has not established in the past. Yet it's been the serious, dark, gritty. Even Wonder Woman, in much as it's colorful, it had this darkness to it. It's where this was not. Even in the darkest points, it wasn't like you're like being like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now let me ask you, how did you feel about the graphics or the CGI that they used during this scene?
I was okay with it. I'm not going to complain too much about it. Again, you can only spend so much on graphics these days.
Yeah. Well, it was like after I saw the movie and I read here and there, Screen Rant came out with a thing that's saying, why were they so bad? And apparently it's been a very hot topic. From Andy Muschietti's reply to it is that the reason why they seem so comical and so underdone is because we're seeing through the eyes of Barry Allen, which I thought was a nice touch. I love it when, we can take that look into what the world is for them, kind of idea.
Yeah,
That's
I did.
that's why you get a baby looking half as good as it could be in the microwave.
Yeah, again, the babies, the dog, I think looked more realistic than the babies.
Yep.
Yeah, and even the woman as she's falling, like I know it's a person, but again, the way they were graphicing her, it kind of threw her off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to hate on it because it wasn't bad. Like the graphics weren't bad. Like I don't hate on She-Hulk like everybody else did, but some of those graphics were not good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like She-Hulk bad. That's for gosh darn sure. And yeah, MJ coming in. CGI was okay because I guess they're in a hurry to get rid of the Snyderverse characters.
Oh,
So they can start a new DC. I don't think that's the reason, sir.
No.
But yeah, no, but I thought overall they looked good. So yeah, so we're getting, and then he has to go help Batman stop a car robbery from guys in a car. I pretty much took this for the gloriness of Affleck's suit. I love it. I absolutely think it's phenomenal. The blue and the gray going to that classic Batman, the classic 70s, 80s Batman. I love it.
Yeah. I do wish, looking at this, I wish they would have taken away the hockey pad kind of chest piece that he has there. Just give us the full gray suit with a little bit of touches of the armor here and there. But yeah, I thought this was looked great. It definitely looked a lot better than some past suits that he's had. And it was nice to see the blue come back.
Yeah, again, the classic blue. I love it. I do.
Really again for a very colorful Flash movie.
Yeah, and which would be contrasted later on. And then we did get Diana Prince showing up, but I do not have I didn't get a shot of that Diana Prince showing up to save. She ends up saving them with Lasso of Truth, and Batman talks about that he should just give all his money away to fix poverty, and that'll solve crime. And then Flash grabs the rope and he says, and he ends up talking about about never having sex before.
Yep, I've never had sex, so I wouldn't know what it feels like. Yeah, something like that. Not me. Don't clip that. I know what I'm married.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, that's essentially it was a funny little scene. And then we get on to Batman and Flash. They chat in the car. They're talking about him going back in time because he actually did this point where he ends up going so fast and he goes back in time. Well, he went to work first, but you know, I feel, and he ends up talking to Iris West and chit-chatting about his dad being in prison and his parole coming up the next day. So we then get into, he ends up going and he finds the Speed Force and figures out, oh, I can turn back time. He figures out how to do it. And then so he talks to Bruce and he's saying how he can fix things and stuff. And Bruce just says, it's the scars that define us. Mm-hmm. It's those things that in our past is what makes us who we are. And again, the scars define you. It's 100% true in every form of life nowadays. But yeah, I thought a great little spot, like two guys who lost their parents talking to each other. Yes, he has his dad still alive, but they both lost their parents. It was kind of a beautiful orphans love each other moment.
Yeah. And to go back, they do make mention of, so the day of, and we'll get to the happening of the murder of Nora Allen. Whew.
Nora Allen, yeah.
I've been watching too much Arrowverse lately. So the day of Nora Allen's murder, Henry Allen goes to the store, and they have video footage that would, make or break him in the court case, but it's very glitchy. So they have to have Bruce encrypt it and decrypt it and all that kind of stuff. And they make mention that he's grabbing a can of tomatoes off the shelf, and he's got the hat on, but he never looks up at the camera, which would clear him of the murder. But that becomes a focal point later on. We'll get to that.
My biggest point is, okay, so did he pay with cash then? Because if he would have paid with a debit card or something, there would have been a transaction record.
It was 2013, so yeah, there would have been. But you never know. He might have just been like, hey, I've got some extra couple bucks. It's like $1 for a can of tomatoes,
Yeah.
Well, $1.
No,
yeah, $1 USD. I don't know what the exchange rate is for a Canadian can.
Probably like $1.50 Canadian, something like that. But, it's just those little things, and like there's got to be like it has to been another security camera somewhere that saw this guy. Mm-hmm. But again, the one security camera in the world in 2013 or wherever, yeah, again, again, it's those little things where you're like, come on. So yeah, after talking to Barry, he ends up to I want to say Ben Affleck, but to Bruce Wayne.
I mean, Batfleck. There you go.
It's still Batfleck at this point. He ends up Iris West comes to his house, and so they start chit chatting and in his house, and stuff keeps falling out of the cupboards because he tried to put everything away hastily.
Very funny moment.
Yeah, but then then he makes a realization that the one small thing he can change, the butterfly effect, is just to put the can of tomatoes in her cart. And so he goes back in time and does it. But the biggest issue to all of this is he gets knocked out of the Speed Force when he's on his way back to the present. So that's where I think the biggest crux, everything changes. Just some random dude comes out and punches him, and comes into the Speed Force, punches him and knocks him out. You're going, and I literally turned to my buddy and went, who the fuck was that?
Yeah, it was a kind of a jump scare, if you will, moment kind of there. Obviously, if you've taken a look at some of like the promotional material, or like if you walk down the toy aisle, you see that this is the Dark Flash, and we don't know at that point. We don't know who he is, even if this is a representation of, like, are they trying to give us like a reverse Flash, Dawn, or is this a whole new creation entirely?
Yeah, so he ends up getting punched out of the Speed Force into 2013. And so here in 2013, he goes home and he realizes, there's another Barry, because he realized he's not in the right. He realizes once he sees a Barry that he's not in the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's now trying to figure it. And this Barry doesn't have his powers. So it's the day he gets his powers, I think it is.
Yes. Yeah.
So they end up going to Barry's house, Barry's apartment, and we get what I thought personally was one of the funniest things as part of it was the Back to the Future reference. I just thought it was so stupid. And he's talking about Back to the Future, and they keep talking about Eric Stoltz, and he's like, "No, Marty or Michael J. Fox." And you're like, "No, Eric Stoltz." And then the one dude has a tattoo of Eric Stoltz on his leg from the movie. And in this universe, Michael J. Fox was never in Back to the Future. It was Eric Stoltz. I just found that insanely funny.
I'm trying to think. What did he say Michael J. Fox was in instead? Wasn't it Footloose?
Yeah, Footloose. Yeah, which is like, isn't that Kevin Bacon? What? I'm like, he's really screwed shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he takes him to the Central City Police Department to get him his powers, and he gets him shocked, and the lightning goes through the chemicals, bathes young Barry, a 2013 Barry, but the lightning went through regular Barry.
Let's call him Present Barry.
Present Barry.
There you go.
And gave him and took away his speed powers, which is, I guess Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Because he did lose his powers when he changed the past.
Yep.
So, again, gave you a way to still have somebody with speed powers in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know how familiar you are. I mean, obviously the show is Marvel Talks, so I don't know how familiar you are with DC. But yeah, this essentially was Flashpoint in all its in all its glory on the big screen. But there were a lot of not subtle changes, but there were a lot of changes to the storyline.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was, like I said, this was Flashpoint.
Yeah, again, this is all based on the Flashpoint comic, all of this, 100%. Mm-hmm. But I want to quickly, before we keep going, I'm going to put a video on. It's going to be for Rogue Energy. You can check out the QR code down in the bottom right, or go to rogueenergy.com. Use the code OLEPODS for 10% off your order. I'm going to hit a little commercial here, and then we'll be right back. Yeah, so I figured I'd bring it up. I forgot to when we were talking about it. The two Barrys talking about what the hell's going on. It's just so again, I like the fact that you had the older Barry trying to deal with the younger Barry and a little bit of his immaturity.
Yeah, that his laugh was just, oh man, I thought my ears were gonna start bleeding every time past Barry laughed. It's just so abrasive.
Yeah. Yeah, so he ends up again, he gets the powers, and then because they have to fight Zod because Zod's invading because it's time for Zod to invade. And he's looking for Victor Stone. Sorry, this is where they end up at his apartment.
Mhm.
This is where Victor Stone, you can't there's no Victor, he's still the football player. And Arthur Curry was never born because we get his dad. We get Arthur Curry's dad in the movie. But for most people, he's Boba Fett. But he's married to some random lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, and interesting. So he decides we have to go to Wayne Manor, but he says they have to leave for their cousin's dinner. And this is a line that I really did like that pays off. So they end up going to find Bruce Wayne, and they go to his place, and it's just run down as shit. There's nobody there. They start to get into the kitchen, and they get attacked by somebody, and then President Barry's getting his ass kicked, just getting beat on, as the other Barry's just like dodging, using his he's just dodging and using his Speed Force powers, and they take him down, and they find out it's Bruce Wayne, but it's 89 versus Bruce Wayne. It's Michael Keaton. And so they talk about having to find Kal-El, and then they talk about the multiverse. And this is where he does talks about the branch timeline. Marvel's exact way of branch timelines. And he goes, that's bullshit. He essentially calls it bullshit. And he says, when you change a point, you change its past and you change its future. So it becomes, instead of branches, it's complete X. It's completely separate timeline all together. Which I was like, huh. And I guess there's fixed points, fixed people. So by changing his past when he changed when Batman was born, which got us Michael Keaton, that older Batman. So they did explain the fact that Batman's way older.
Yeah. This was not way older. I've got something about that, but let's just so as I'm sitting there, and I've watched Back to the Future so many times. I've watched Endgame and tried to understand time in that movie itself. And then sitting there when they mentioned Eric Stoltz was Marty McFly instead of Michael J. Fox, I'm like, wait a damn second. He didn't go all the way back to 1985 to change. So how the hell is Eric Stoltz? But it's almost like a ripple effect. Mm-hmm. One change that you make in your timeline affects the whole of the time-space continuum. I forget. He said that time is non-linear here. Time is non-linear in that sense. Instead of having it being a straight line and then having that veer off like they show us in Back to the Future, like you said, it's a spaghetti. It goes all over the place. My thing about why was Bruce Wayne so run down? And I talked to my wife about this. My thing about this was he was Batman. He was fine. He could have been he could have been clean shaven, hair was fine, short. But then, like, he says that the city no longer needed Batman. And I'm like, well, why would he go into reclusive mode then? Why would he become a hermit? And then she says, well, because that was his purpose. His purpose was to be Batman. Now he's no longer Batman. I said, well, yeah, I kind of get that, but like you're Bruce Wayne. You've got a business to run, Wayne Enterprises to run. You could be out there doing things, but that's my one gripe about that is like, why is he, why is he looking like the Big Lebowski? We got two universes that have a Big Lebowski reference. Why do we gotta have two?
Yeah, again, it's just those weird little things, and the fact that the multiverse is like spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could finally convince Bruce to help them because he starts searching through a back door in NASA using the Batcave to find where Kal-El is kept. And so they all suit up. So I'm going to bring it up. He brings it up. This is actually, I think, the later one where he's saying, "Let's get nuts." But again, I just want a glory shirt. He puts the suit on, and I love that he puts the suit on. It makes me just so gosh darn happy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and to see this guy wear the suit again, and again, this isn't the same one as when they're using the plane to fly to the Arctic, but them all in the plane together. This was actually later on in the movie, but just look at the gloriness of him wearing that cowl again.
Just it's like putting on, putting on an old sock while riding a bike. There we go.
There you go.
Putting on the old cozy shirt.
Pretty much. Yeah, very much so. And again, I thought absolutely. So they end up going to, what is it?
Russia.
Astrid, you're making me hungry with all spaghetti talk.
They had meatballs and pasta sauce there too, so there you go.
Yeah. So they go to Russia and to a militia base, specifically said militia, who's been keeping Kal-El hostage. And they get there, they break in, epic fight. Batman's just taking people down. And they get into the main piece, but it's not Kal-El. It's Kara Zor-El, his cousin. So we find out she was the one sent to Earth. She was the one that crashed on Earth, not Kal-El. And she was the one taken captive, and she's been locked up ever since. So they save her. They bring her out, and Barry, 2013 Barry gets shot in the knee, and he's like, "I didn't know I get shot." And he's like, and then President Barry's like, What did you think? Why did you not think you would get shot? Like it was just like, how do you like you're fast? Doesn't mean you can't be shot. It was just like perfect logic. That's perfect logic.
Yeah, you're not Superman. You can get shot. You're just the fastest man alive.
So Batman ends up blowing up the elevator to send them up to the surface, and this is where Kara ends up powering up because she's got the power of the sun. She's like tossing people off the building and everything, just straight up murdering everyone.
What a great moment! I'm not a fan of the Clark Kent, but the Kara, this was a great look. She looks so powerful and just whooping so much butt. It was a great scene.
Yeah, I thought absolutely tremendous. She did such a good job there. In that scene, and then she collapses, and then they end up taking her back to the Wayne Manor, and they're going over things, and they're trying to figure out how to get Barry his powers, because she leaves because she doesn't want. She tells that humans have done nothing to her. I've only hurt her, right? Mm-hmm. So she's not going to help them. So she leaves, and Barry sets up the Flashpoint, sitting in the chair, getting struck by lightning with the chemicals around him situation to get his power back. This is present Barry. And so they do it. It hits, but it doesn't work on the first try. So they're like, shit. But he's already been doused in the chemicals now from the initial explosion. So Kara shows up, and she picks him up, carries him up into the lightning storm, right up into the clouds, and the lightning hits them. And she brings him back down to Earth, and he's laying there. Other Barry's getting all like, this is where you're like, he's getting his powers back, but it's that heartfelt moment of the other Barry grabbing his hand, like, come on, like, and everybody looking concerned. And then all of a sudden you see the skin start to heal, and it's like, yes, he's got his power back.
Yeah, a great moment.
Mm-hmm. And I thought they did it well to play into Flashpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we end up he has to build the suits. And dude, 2013 Barry, I was a little like, ooh, that's cool. But then I realized, God damn, why didn't he rip the bat symbol off?
Yeah.
Like, is it that welded into the rubber that he can't pull it off?
Yeah, I think so. I thought at one point it was connected to the cowl, but I guess not. And that got this spoiled for me. Taking a look at the toys at like Walmart or Target, I saw the little past Barry. And I'm like, wait a second. Why does it look like he has the bat symbol on it? Why does it look like he has ears on that suit? Mm-hmm. And then I kind of studied it a little bit, and I'm like, oh no, is that the 89 bat suit? Oh no. My heart sank.
It was a glory shot from the trailer of all the bat suits, and they were because he wanted to give the bat suit to President Barry to protect him, but he's like, no. The fact is, I can't be protected here, because this is why other Barry gets a hold of this suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I just and that moment he goes and he starts sawing into the ears of the bat cow. I'm like, oh, jeez.
Dude, my entire theater started laughing when he did that. The entire theater.
I was crying. I shed a tear. It was that moment from 2014 RoboCop when, again, Michael Keaton, they have it painted silver and black, and he just goes, just make it all black. I'm like, oh, that's not RoboCop though. Why Michael Keaton? Now I can say that again. Why Michael Keaton? Are you letting this guy tear up the suit? Oh.
Yeah, so now that everybody's got powers, everybody's ready to suit up, they get in the bat plane, he flies everybody there, even though technically, why didn't the Barrys just run? That's my question.
Save speed, save energy. Yeah, consume energy. I like that.
And one of the funniest scenes I love of 2013 Barry, him taking the video of Kara. It's like, I gotta say something for our kids. It's just like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, and so we end up getting to the big battlefield, and they face it off with Michael Shannon's Zod. Again, I thought they did him quite well in this movie of like to create a different version. I think they did a good job.
I don't know if I'd say necessarily a different version, but to give him a little more justice from, like can we all agree that Man of Steel leaves a bad taste in our mouths? Like, I didn't necessarily like it. I don't know how the world feels about that movie, but 2013 Alex was just, this isn't. I already wasn't a fan of Superman to begin with, and Man of Steel just wasn't the movie for me. But to have him come back and kind of redeem himself, even though he did say he didn't quite get and understand the multiverse stuff, the actor, not obviously General Zod, but it was nice to see him. Yeah, Michael Shannon. It was nice to see him come back in this role and kind of not have his head ripped off.
Yeah. And so we get the glory shot of the three of them on the battlefield while Batman's flying around in the Batwing up in the skies, trying to take out ships. So I got to talk about Sasha Calle as Kara Zor. Did you find she did a pretty good job in this for what she did in this movie?
I think she did really well, yeah.
Yeah. I think she played it in such a way of like a person that was scarred from the fact that humans have done nothing to hurt him, and then she realizes that this guy is trying, like President Barry is trying to sacrifice himself to get his power back to save people, and she realizes, okay, maybe not everybody is terrible, and the fact that she had that realization, but when she's fighting Zod, she's kicking the shit out of him. Then she's like, "Where is Kal-El, who she was supposed to protect, right?" And when Zod says the infant didn't make it, I was like, oh, I was like, you killed a baby. You could have raised the kid to be one of your soldiers. Wouldn't that have made more sense?
It would have, but we've already had a Brightborn, and this isn't Brightborn. This is Flash.
Yeah. So she goes full animal style, beating the living hell. Got a couple of glory shots of the fight with Flash in there, just looking all dope, charging up. Same with 2013 Flash in his bat Flash suit. But yeah, I thought the battle itself was actually pretty well done. But Zod kills Kara. He stabs her through the chest with, I'm guessing, a Kryptonian infused blade.
Yes.
A kryptonite infused blade, I'm going to assume.
Yep.
Right. And he kills her and then takes her DNA, because she's the one that has to create a new world in her
terraforming machine. Yeah.
Yeah. In this universe, she has it, not Kal-El. And so he takes her DNA to do it. And this is where they think, and Batman has been killed because he ran full steam into the Kryptonian ship and it exploded and the ship survived. And this is where both of them are like, we can go get them back. And so they go into the Speed Force. So they come back out in the fight, And they start going again, and it doesn't work. But they both die another way because Batman dies into fighting this big giant Kryptonian giant thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Kara again gets stabbed and her DNA taken. And so they go back in, try to solve it again, but then then President Barry realizes this is a fixed point. We can't change their deaths. These have to happen.
Yes.
But 2013 Barry does not have that realization, and he keeps going. And at one point, he gets this like spike out of his arm, like a piece of Kryptonian spike through his arm, but it's healing around him. It's so fast that it's not going to kill him. And that's how he's trying to kill Zod at one point. It doesn't work, and he keeps going. And the more you see him go through, the more pieces of like Kryptonian metal that are in his
metal
body.
pieces, yeah.
And then we get a realization of the multiverse starts to crash. You're seeing all the globes kind of coming in and smashing into each other. Well, we get some really cool kind of cameos in this of stuff from other universes. I've only got a couple. Just shows one at the center. It's just Jay Garrick in the Speed Force running. Again, not sure who played him. I don't think I have that anywhere. I'm trying to look, but I don't think it was. I think it's just like a random person.
Yeah, I think it was an uncredited role.
Yeah,
it wasn't the actor who played Jay Garrick in Zoom from the Arrowverse. I know for sure.
Yeah, he's not. It says he was just used. It was 3 CGI creation to do it. So yeah. So we got a Jay Garrick running in one of the Speed Force worlds. It's essentially these globes of the multiverses crashing into each other, is what it is. We get one where it shows Christopher Reeves and I can't remember her name. God, what's her name? I can't remember her name.
Helen Slater. There you go.
Yeah, from Supergirl, from the movies from the 70s and 80s. Again, it's a CGI version of them. I couldn't get a good shot of it online, so I just figured, I guess get 2 pictures of the actual actors. But I thought it was really beautiful scene of showing them and showing all the different people. This one probably made me excited more than anything.
Popped the whole theater. Yeah,
mine too. It's Nick Cage in the Superman Lives, the universe that never actually happened. And it's Kevin Smith wrote a screenplay for it. Tim Burton was supposed to direct it, and he fought the giant spider that the producer wanted him to fight.
Yep.
I thought absolute perfection of a scene. Like just of the cameos. How do you feel about the cameos?
I thought they were perfect. I do wish, we got a few more here and there. I mean, be remiss to say that I would have loved to see the Grant Gustin from the
that's the one. That was the one I was, and I guess there was one, but there's a globe it went right up to, but it didn't go into, and that was the Adam West one, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought these were really good. There's a lot of people that say like, "Oh, we're using post-mortem CGI to make these people." Why? I mean, we did it with General Tarkin in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Why? We've done it with she wasn't passed at that time, but we did it with Carrie Fisher in Rogue One as well.
They had a hologram of Tupac play at Coachella years ago.
Yeah. So
again,
it's a blurred line because we can use archive footage, but we can't use CGI. Archive. Yeah, what's the difference? I mean, I get archive footage is already out there in the ethos. They can just pick it from the cans that they have stored away at Warner Brothers or Paramount or wherever, and they can just shove it in there. But I mean, in a time where it's like, why not?
Yeah,
Don't do it all the time. Don't do it all the time because it's going to get.
But as long as you have, the families of these Christopher Reeves and them saying, yeah, use it.
Yes,
please go ahead. I guarantee you they wouldn't have done it unless they contacted the family saying, hey, we want to use a likeness of him in the movie.
Yeah,
CGI likeness. And I have a feeling they would have. That's what they would have done. I don't think they would have done it without talking to the right people, making sure his likeness was used properly.
Yeah. As long as you get permission and it's done respectfully, I think it's okay.
Yeah. Again, I thought really well done. There was another one I can't remember, but again, it was just quickly shown in and out. But again, some beautiful little cameos there.
Christopher Reeve, George Reeves.
Yes, George Reeves. That's it. Yeah,
older Superman.
yeah. The
Serials.
50 serials. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So that was, and then as you're he's trying to stop him. 2003, another guy rolls in, and I got this. This is not a great copy because again, this isn't out there widely. The pictures of Dark Flash yet, but Dark Flash comes in and starts fighting Barry, and then the other Barry comes in and realizes what's going on, and so he ends up trying to do the shock. They have to do literally this. It's pretty much a United Empire symbol. Give it up to the United Empire being in this movie, kind of.
Wrestling is everywhere.
When they're doing the shock symbols, give it up to the United Empire, baby.
Yeah,
and they're doing the shock, and then Barry, they both shock him together, and the mask crumbles away, and there's a big old scar that 2013 Barry got during the fight, and they realize he's been trying to do this forever. He's been trying to save Kara and save Bruce forever, but can't. And this is what happens to him. And he says, "I knocked you out of the multiverse to set this in place."
I knocked you out of the. I knocked you out of the multiverse. I knocked you out of the Speed Force in 2013, so you could help create me.
Yeah, sorry, not the multiverse, the Speed Force. I apologize. Yeah. Astrid Dillon saying she would have loved to see Grant. Yeah, he is their flag. Yeah, dude, I've watched that guy for 9 years. I was really surprised we didn't get them talking to each other like in
Infinite Crisis. Yeah,
I'm surprised we didn't get that scene. I was kind of thinking maybe that's what we would have got in this Speed Force. Maybe him talking to each other quickly. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but yeah, again, and he realizes who it is, and Barry 2013 sacrifices himself and dies. Like, I think because the other one stabbed him, right?
Yes, he was going for a killing blow on President Barry. Dark Flash was, and past Barry steps in the way.
And so he essentially kills himself. And as Barry dies, Dark Flash crumbles away. And Barry now realizes what he has to do is he can't save his mother. You can't keep her alive because it will not work. This world cannot exist. And he goes back and he interacts with her because he's an adult at this point. So when they're talking, she realizes that something's up here. And like she puts a hand on the face, and they're talking about how he loves his mother, and his mom saying she would be proud of you and things like that. Miss Melball, hello, it's nice to see you, my girl, my tag team partner.
However, she does the thing.
She vogues. She vogues or something. I don't know. I don't.
You have to teach me how to do this one day. I'm not. Yeah.
That's how I do it.
Well, that's oof.
But again, a very emotional scene in a movie that has been very lighthearted for the most of it. And again, it got me a little. I was like, oh God, I felt bad for the guy. Like you truly feel bad for the guy with him having to sacrifice his mom. So he ends up going in the Speed Force, takes the can of tomatoes out that he put in because he got there just after his self puts.
She does a thing. That's whatever this is. This is her.
The thing you're always doing this.
This is her United Embassy logo. This is her Flash logo, whatever that is.
You're always doing that, Mel. But and then you see him crying because when he takes the can out, puts it back on the shelf, and he goes back to the present day, and he realizes he has to save his father, right? And again, it's this emotion, but then he realizes what he has to do to save his father. I'm going to let you because I know you're irked on this too.
Okay, let me paint the picture for you because I've written a couple things in my time. I've read a lot of things. I've seen a lot of movies. I'm a unhealthy amount of movies, if you will. And I've always looked at like what's something you can set up to use later on, a Chekhov's gun, if you will. They earlier on, before Henry Allen goes to the store after. Nora makes mention, hey, I need another can of tomatoes. He specifically goes for his hat, which is hanging on a rack. This hat, which he's wearing in the security footage early on, the reason why they can't see his face. He grabs his hat. They even zoom in and have it focused on the hat. Okay, he's got this hat. It's very important, right? Barry, and at this point, he has to figure out a way to save Henry from going to jail or continuing to be in jail. He sees the tomatoes on the shelf, on the bottom shelf, or on the second shelf,
like on a mid shelf,
on the mid shelf,
not at the top, but on the mid,
like stomach weight, stomach level shelf, yeah.
So
and then
no reason to look up.
Yeah, and then he looks up at the camera and sees it. I'm like, okay, what's he thinking here? To go on, they get to the court case, they get to the video, and it shows Henry Allen looking at the tomatoes at the waist level, and then finding the same tomatoes that he's supposed to get on the top shelf while he's wearing the hat. In my mind, I was like, the shoe-in, the slam dunk here would be for Barry to just go back to that moment or go back before Henry leaves and get the hat so that Henry can walk in, see, and you can see his face clearly, and that's it. He had to move a whole shelf from one to the other, a whole thing of tomatoes. Dumb. It was just like the hat.
But I thought the hat too. I thought the exact same thing about. I'm like, why didn't? Because again, when he looked up at the camera when he's in the past still, when he realized it, I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna take the hat.
Yes,
like that's what went in my brain. He's gonna take the hat because his dad was wearing a hat. But no.
And if you think about it, it's like now that he's moved the tomatoes to the two shelves, what kind of paradox is that going to create? At least if he moves the hat somewhere else where Henry doesn't immediately see it. But now some manager is going to go up to him and be like, "Hey, Steve, why are these tomatoes on the bottom shelf and not the top shelf? Or top shelf? Why are they on the top shelf and not the bottom shelf?" Well, I didn't put them there like that. You're fired. That guy goes off. He becomes a super villain, a meta villain. He's got to fight Batman and the Flash later on. It's just you could have avoided that. Who knows what implications this left now? Because Barry had to move some tomatoes from mid shelf to the top shelf. The
Great and Evil Steve.
Yeah, the Great and Evil Steve. Coming next year. Hey, DC, James, you listening? The Great and Evil Steve. I got you. I got the script written for you right now.
Yeah, I'm attached as an executive producer, by the way.
Yeah. All I wanted is a cameo.
But again, it was such a lame cop out to it. Like if the hat would have made so much more sense in my personal opinion. I don't know. It just there's those weird things, or maybe I thought maybe he was going to reposition another camera or something, but it just to have that, I was like, that's so lame.
When my wife and I sat in our van after the movie, I just took a beat and I'm like, these damn tomatoes, this damn hat.
Oh yeah. Again, it was one of those like, oh, come on moments. Really? So they win the court case. He gets freed, right? Because again, the footage wasn't usable 10 years ago, whatever it was. So he gets freed, and Barry but Barry leaves the courthouse as Iris, but not with his dad. I'm guessing he had to go be back processed out of jail. There's legal things you can't. I like the fact that they did that in this. That it was more realistic that he didn't leave the courthouse with Barry, because he still has to be brought back to prison, processed out, all the official paperwork. Again, you don't just leave from courthouse when you're freed from jail. Again, it doesn't work like that.
And in my opinion, that's not his dad. His dad is. So I believe it was in the Justice League. I think it might have been the deleted scene, though, so they can kind of get away with it. But his dad in the deleted scene of Justice League was the actor who played Dr. Manhattan in The Watchmen.
Yeah, but I know they recast it for this movie.
I was so upset about that. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it would have been awesome. Well, especially that because Watchmen's now part of DC, it's within the universe now. It would kind of been as a weird little nod.
The Snyderverse.
Yeah, through the Snyderverse. Yeah, so he comes out, he talks about the spaghetti. They asked him for a quote, and he's like, talks all about the multiverse and the spaghetti of it all. So just this, it was pretty charming. I will admit that. It was a little charming little thing. And so he leaves, Iris leaves him because she has to go do something. And he gets a phone call. And it's Bruce. So he's like, oh, come, yeah. Bruce is going to come to the courthouse to see him. Which is kind of like, why are you coming to a courthouse to see some random CSI kid whose dad's being let out of jail? What's your connection to this kid? Again, because the people don't know that they're Batman and Flash, right?
Yep.
And my first tip off was the voice was not right. It just didn't make sense. I was like, that doesn't sound like Batfleck. What are we getting? Man walks out. It's George Clooney, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
We're in the Batman and Robin verse now.
Don't leave home without him.
We're in the Batman and Robin. This is the Bat credit card verse, ladies and gentlemen. You know, he's got a credit card with a bat symbol on it in his wallet in this scene when he shows up in this scene.
No, that credit card has not aged one day.
No, it's gonna be just as shiny. But dude, I like this movie. It was fun because again, you nodded to Batman. I understand not having a Val Kilmer in the show up because again, his health issues. But I was really surprised you didn't have a Val Kilmer somewhere in this in one of the multiverses, giving him a little shout out because again, come on, you shouted out the other two main Batman. Come on, no Christian Bale either. But meh, I don't know. I'm up and down on those movies. But yeah, just the fact, because this is probably the Batman movie I've watched more times in my life than anything, because I was 10 when this came out, and a 10-year-old watching Batman and Robin, I thought that was the greatest comic book movie I've ever seen.
It was Batman Forever for me.
Yeah, but those two were just classics for me, right? Yes. Like, because again, I was 8 and 10 when those came out. I think it was 95 and 97 when those two movies came out, and I was down. Those are mine. And Batman and Robin, I thought was great because I had Batgirl. It had everything. For me, it was exciting. And now I look back at it and go, that was cheesy as hell, but I still love it to this day. I still have heart for that.
We realized the error of our ways when we saw, what's this Michael Keaton? Who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, again, I had never seen the first two Batman movies before I saw Forever. So again, I saw Keaton stuff after I seen Clooney and Kilmer. But no, it was just a fun little callback to that. And again, he's just like, who are you? Like, he doesn't realize. He's like, he tells me it's him, it's Bruce. And he's like, shit. And he's just like, God damn it, I fucked up again. And so now he's gonna have to run back and change. Maybe next time he realizes he has to go move the hat instead of the can of tomatoes.
Oh, yeah. There you go. We got Clooney Batman because of some tomatoes. But I do think this was a way to send off Ben Affleck. I think it was the last time we would see him as Batman. So it was a nice little nod. Sad we didn't get to see more of him, but
I was kind of hoping we would have gotten the reveal of the new Batman, but I guess not. Again, I love seeing Clooney, man. He was my favorite Batman.
I thought we would have seen Pattinson.
Yeah, but then I remember Pattinson would have made more sense.
But then I remember they're trying to keep the Matt Reeves separate from the DC.
But okay, so to that point, so we get to the credits. The credits are playing. We get the dog falling and the gloriness of the dog falling during their opening scene. Then we get into we go through the credits. So there wasn't really a mid-credit scene other than the dog falling. So we get a post-credit scene, and Barry's talking to somebody, and then they come out of the bar, and he's with Arthur Curry. It's Aquaman. So, and Barry even states this, that Arthur Curry, he's talking about his travels in the multiverse, he's a set point. He's the same Arthur Curry in every universe, other than the one where he doesn't exist, obviously. But when in universe that he obviously exists, he's who. So to me personally, I think that's a sign he's going to be in the Gunverse.
Yeah,
and that maybe Lost Kingdom is a reboot for it, and it's now going to be within the Gunverse,
which would be very nice. Give us a little less CG in that movie. Just that's my opinion. A lot more Momoa, a lot less CG.
Yeah, no, but I'm very much looking forward to the future. Like with the point, the fact that Blue Beetle's what's next, and then you have possibly Jason Momoa continuing on as Aquaman in the Gunverse.
Yes.
Again, that all can be decided after Lost Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was The Flash, ladies and gentlemen. So overall, did you I came out of this movie loving it.
Yes. And this has one of those very moral deep questions for all of us. Like, what would you do if you had the chance to go back and save somebody? And we see it. And it pulls at your heartstrings because that's a question we all have. What if we could go back? And they played it out very well.
I'm one of those people that has I just asked this question on today because today's Father's Day as we record this, as this is streaming. And again, I lost my father last year. What I wouldn't do to bring him back? Like, it's one of those questions. Would I go back and bring him back? Could I? Like, is there, if I had the power to? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's again, the scars define us. Like what has happened to you in your past and your future, that defines you, man. It really does.
Yes, wholeheartedly agree. Too bad Henry and Barry couldn't have a good walkout and put an exclamation point on this Father's Day Flash stream.
Yeah, but hey, Bruce is a symbolic dad if you think about it.
Yeah, the father figure for little Barry Allen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, but I thought absolutely phenomenal movie. But it is time for this to come to an end, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to play one quick video before we do our outros because I want to highlight, I hope this is the right video, of what's coming up this week. I'm going to hit it. Give me one. I'll be back in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Yeah, ladies, we got lots of great stuff coming up this week on OLD, including myself. I will be here coming back this Wednesday for the first episode of Secret Invasion. I'll be reviewing with the multi. He's lost him in the multiverse, but I'm going to try and pull him back in for this Wednesday. Me and Oled talking Secret. The first episode of Secret Invasion is coming Wednesday. I'm very excited for that. So very excited. And then coming up. For me, I will be back again this coming Sunday, right after Bustin' Out. We're going to be sitting down to talk a preview early in the afternoon about Forbidden Door. It's going to be myself. It's going to be my friend Melball, Laurent Goodnight, and Bobby Munson. The four of us going to be sitting down, chit-chatting, going over previewing Forbidden Door for you on Sunday afternoon. We're going to give our thoughts and everything. And then I'm pretty sure there's going to be a post show. I'm going to try pop into that at some point, but I'm going to watch it live with my friends at Beer Cave. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. Before we go, Alex, where can the lovely people find you, sir?
Well, until our local establishment Hall of Justice lets me pull my chair up to the table, you can find me at That Ecto Guy. I share weird memes. I share movie thoughts. I share toy talk, whatever, whenever I'm gamers stuff. I'm all sorts. I'm all over the place. At That Ecto Guy on Twitter.
Perfect.
And
then
there.
You can find. Yeah, I put it up for you, man. Hey. I want to make sure your stuff came up. Got to make sure of it. And then scrolling across the bottom, you got me on Twitter at That Kind of Guy. At That Kind of Guy. Instagram at That Kind of Dude. You can find me on Hive and Mastodon at that Canada guy. I don't have those written down in this one. And you can find me on Facebook at Andre Melba Wrestling Talk on Facebook and on YouTube, where we have shows coming out all week long. We got lots of great stuff coming out.
I've been found.
Astrid. Oh my God, he showed up.
I'm back.
You see the movie
here.
yet, Ed? Did you see the movie yet, Ed?
No, I still haven't seen the movie.
Okay, so all right.
Take some time. Take some time.
That's why I disappeared for a little while, because I wasn't able to go ahead and see the movie this week.
Oh.
So.
Oh, there we go.
But Alex,
Yeah,
thank you so much for stepping in my place tonight. It was greatly appreciated.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Astrid, you have a great night too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much for joining us here on Marvel Talk Goes DC, talking all about The Flash. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a great night, and we'll talk to you later.